Right, okay, once you have done all of the colour samples that you want to explore, you've got at least 3 or 4, more would be better, but as long as you've got at least 3 or 4, I'll be happy with that. Then what you're going to do is you're going to look how you're going to edit and present your photograph. So you may be presenting one photograph as your final piece, you might be presenting a series of 2 or 3. Whatever you're going to do, you need to experiment with how you're going to present it and how you're going to edit it and improve it, okay? So you may have already done the colour schemes and edited it in that way that you quite like, but then this is just a different way that you could maybe finish it off, finalise it and sort of refine it, okay? So one way that we could do that is using Daru's style burning around the edges to make the edges darker and to make the image brighter and lighter so that it looks more effective. So what I'm going to do right in the middle of the toolbar on photopea down here is you've got the burn tool. So if you right click on that, you'll be able to bring that up, and then you've got your tools at the top here, so where this little drop down arrow is. So I've just dropped that down, turned my pixels up to be quite large, so I've got quite a large circle, and I've turned the hardness down to 0 so it's quite soft. And then all I'm going to do is, yes, click OK on that. I'm going to start with the shadows, and I'm going to go and draw all the way around my edge of my image with that burn tool, and then I'm going to change it to midtones, do the same, and then I'm going to change it to highlights again and do the same. And what that does is that just makes the edges darker, bringing all the focus onto that shape in the centre, and you can see it's a small difference but it has a dramatic impact on the page. Now that might be appropriate for you, but if you've got something like this, I don't think that's going to be appropriate, because if I start burning around the edge I'm going to end up burning a load of these lollipops. So what I'm going to do, again I'm going to zoom in on this one for you so you can see it a bit better, is I'm going to do something inspired by one of the artists we're going to be looking at in our sort of beginning of the lessons. We're going to look at this, and what he does, he's called Funky Way, and he selects a part of an image either in a circle or a straight line or something like that. So I'm just making sure I'm on the right layer, I'm working on this layer, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to select an area and I'm going to Control and C to copy, Control and V to paste, and see there I've got a new layer that's popped up because I've just copied that circle in the centre. So on that new layer that's just popped up, I'm going to go to Image, I'm going to go to Adjustments using what we already know about image and adjustments, and I'm going to change the hue and the saturation, and you should start to see what happens. Can you see how that all around the centre that looks lighter and brighter and sort of a bit more bluey? And I'm going to make the saturation, turn that up so it's a bit more obvious, and I'm going to turn the lightness up as well, and then I'm going to click OK. And then again I'm going to get my little selection tool, I'm going to go back onto layer 1, and this time I'm going to select a slightly bigger circle, and again I'm going to move it over so it's almost like perfectly centered. And now that I'm on layer 1, I'm going to again press Control and C, Control and V, and that brings up layer 3. Now luckily layer 3 is pasted underneath layer 2, which is what I wanted, which is brilliant. So now that I've got layer 3, again I'm going to go to Image, I'm going to go to Adjustments, and I'm going to go to Hue and Saturation, and again I'm going to change the hue, I'm going to turn up the saturation, and this time I'm going to turn down the lightness. Maybe if I change it to a different colour, that make, oh yeah, that makes more of a difference, that's better. Brilliant. So hopefully you should be able to see what's starting to happen. So again, I can do that as many times as I want. I can go again a bit bigger, go back onto layer 1, again press Control and C, and then Control and V to paste. That brings me up another layer, or did it? I'm just going to do that again just to make sure that did, because I don't believe that did it right, because it said layer 3 again. Control and C, Control and V. Maybe it just calls it layer 3 part 2 maybe, but we shall see. So then layer 3, image, adjustments, hue and saturation this time. Ooh, I like that already, the way that's gone, to be fair, that sort of bright orange. Turn the saturation down a teeny weeny bit. Oh, there we go, I like that. Okay, and then you can see I'm sort of creating this rainbow effect just by making little circles, moving it around so it's all lined up, going back on layer 1, pressing Control and C, pressing Control and V, pasting it, and then just doing image, adjustments, hue and saturation, selecting different ones and sliding it and changing it and making it a bit different each time. And then when you're done each time, you just click OK, and then you end up with this sort of rainbow effect happening. Alright, so that's another way that you could edit and that you could change things to make it look a little bit more interesting, a little bit more appealing. But then we get to how you're actually going to physically present your images. So if you didn't want to present them in a square like this, you could change it and you could present them in a circle. So again, I can just sort of go to my layers here, and I'll go to layer 1 because this is the one that I want to work on. I'm going to draw a circle around my lollipops. Just edit it a bit to make sure. Oh, that's not what I wanted it to do. I wanted it to change size. I'll try again. Making it big enough to select all of those. I get why this is not a perfect circle. That's annoying. It's a bit more of a sort of oval shape. There, I think that's going to be about the right size now. Pretty much perfect. Okay, so now that I've done that, what I can do is I can leave it on layer 1 and I can go to select. I can go to inverse and then I can just hit delete, and that will delete my background, and that will present my image in a circle rather than in a square, which is another thing that you could explore if you wanted to. You could just keep it in little square images, you could make your background, you could present it on a black page on your slides, whatever you wanted to. Okay, but just a few little things that you could explore, that you could try to develop your ideas. There may be other things that you want to explore that are a bit more personal to you, but that's just a little starting point. Okay, so now it's over to you. Off you go.